Hello YouTube, how's it going? So I know this is like years, probably doesn't really matter, but I finally played Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Now, first off, this will just be about the campaign of the game, not the multiplayer, because there aren't enough players to actually get a good sense of how the multiplayer operates. Plus, most people are playing like the newer Call of Duty game, so it doesn't seem anyone would buy this game for the multiplayer. They would probably just buy it for the single player. And yeah, so this game came out in 2014, around the same time Titanfall came out. And there was a lot of stigma surrounding this game, mainly because of the futuristic look of the game. It kind of compared it to Titanfall. And while I can see that on a surface level, I think Angry Joe also did a review where he did that, where he did a parody of what Activision thought was hot right now. But the games couldn't be further different. I've played Titanfall 1 and 2. Titanfall 2 criminally underrated because of EA, but yeah, the game is actually pretty decent. Now, this also was bad stigma because this was the time when everyone was aware what happened to Vince Zampella and Jason West when they founded Respawn and left Infinity Ward. They were suing Activision for unpaid royalties. There was a lot of issues, so a lot of people didn't really want to play this game also out of just bad faith. It did sell very well, no doubt about it. It is a Call of Duty game after all. It's like a Madden or FIFA game where people who buy the last year will likely buy the new year because, repetition, they know what they're going to get. Most likely their friends and family will get the same game so they can all play together. But the game isn't as bad as everyone made it out to seem. Like, reviews have been average for the game, and they kind of risen since the whole first launch of the game, but I think it has a lot of good ideas. Now, I haven't played Infinite Warfare yet, so maybe a lot of the things I'm going to mention here are either improved on in that game or probably did worse. I don't know yet. I kind of want to go into that game completely without any knowledge of how it is in comparison to the two, and do this view as fresh as possible. So I played through the game twice on first on recruit difficulty just to play through the game, then on veteran difficulty. That's kind of how I play Call of Duty games, either on normal or recruit, then on veteran next. It's probably one of the easier veteran difficulties I've ever played. Like, I've only had, I think, one mission which gave me trouble, and that was mainly because you had to scan for a certain enemy during an espionage mission, and basically you have 40 seconds. 15 seconds is devoted to you just doing a cutscene before you actually have to find the person, and it's very annoying. But other than that, in terms of raw gameplay, it's perhaps the easiest veteran difficulty I've ever experienced, and I've played every Call of Duty I've ever played on veteran difficulty and completed it, even Call of Duty 1, which is the hardest veteran difficulty because there is no regeneration health in Call of Duty 1. You literally have to find health packs. Either way, the game itself, the story is as basic as they come. Now, the story is controversial, not because of what it delivers, but because of the main villain, Irons, who is played by Kevin Spacey, which I can't discuss because YouTube will demonetize me or probably strike this video down. Either way, let's just say Google his name and you'll see, yeah, a lot of unsettling things about that. And well, in terms of the story itself, it's the most basic military shooter you can think of, even more basic than Call of Duty Ghost. Basically, the bad guy that you thought would be the bad guy ends up being the bad guy, and in this game, he just tries to take over the world, literally using just capitalistic reasons. But for the most part, this guy is trying to just have full control of the military operations of the world. Either way, it's not a bad story in terms of how it's presented, like the atmosphere and the actual deliverance of the story, like through cutscenes and actions. The performances are very well done. The cutscenes are insanely good, but this is a Call of Duty game. Their cutscenes tend to age very well. Even Call of Duty 4, the cutscenes still look absolutely amazing. Even if you don't play the remastered version, if you play the original game, it still looks absolutely stellar. So these cutscenes tend to age very well. And yeah, even though the story is basic, the way they present it is just so top notch. Now, the gameplay. You have some really cool weapons. You have the basic, like, projectile weapons. You do have laser weapons. But to me, the real star of the show is actually the grenades. I know it's not the exosuits, it's actually the grenades. So the grenades can be shuffled between three options for lethal and non-lethal. The lethal include contact, frag, and homing grenade. And for non-lethal, you got flash, EMP for technology devices like drones that you'll face, and finally you have threat detection, which is basically a radar that showcases all the enemies, which is why veteran difficulty was so much easier in this game. Now the weapons are very well designed. They definitely look futuristic. They're so cool to use, and the game does encourage you to use a variety of weapons. Some are better than others, but for the most part, every weapon is viable, with the exception of the tac shotgun. I thought that was a worthless gun because it doesn't have any range, and in terms of damage, it does nothing. But you do have some gimmick things, such as a portable riot shield and a exosuit, a much more advanced exosuit at the end of the game. Now, the exosuit is the biggest thing that people compare Titanfall to this game, and they operate very differently. Again, I've played Titanfall 1 and 2. Titanfall 2 is criminally underrated because of what EA did to that game, but either way, the exosuits are given 3 abilities per mission, and they highlight what those abilities are. This includes double jumping, stim to increase health regeneration, stuff like that. But for the most part, you don't need to use any of it. Like, yeah, there are some certain things that you have to use a grapple hook in order to get above to a certain place, but for the most part, you don't really need to use any of these abilities. I beat about 90% veteran without using any of their abilities. Yeah, the dash ability is useful to just get from point A to point B quickly, but for the most part, it's just there for gimmick purposes, and you'll likely forget about it very easily unless the game tells you you have to use it. The characters themselves, with the exception of Kevin Spacey's character, I don't remember a single person. They tried to create, the classic, oh no, my friend is about to die, but they don't really create drama surrounding it. You don't really connect with the character. The first mission of the game, Will dies, which is your best friend, and you're supposed to create this buddy relationship, but when he dies in the first mission, you're just like, I barely knew this guy. Is he supposed to mean anything to me? And he's also Kevin Spacey, I'm just going to call him Irons. Irons' his son, which he clearly shows that he has no emotion towards losing his son because, the bad guy who we all thought was the bad guy ends up being the bad guy. So, it's kind of obvious he's not going to really care that much that his son is dead. But, yeah, the characters just fall flat. They don't really create any type of emotional connection. That's something that's really hard to do in one game. But you can do it over a series of missions where the characters connect and talk to one another and create this emotional bond, but in this game, it's just not there. Now, it's extremely problematic to play this game because Activision Blizzard, it's not even Activision Blizzard, I would say it's YouTube. YouTube's strict copyright automatic detection software basically bans you from playing anything beyond the first mission. Like, literally, if you watch some of my videos, you'll say, why is this cut? It's because they block it. And I don't know why, and I try to contact Activision about it, but apparently they just don't care, which, it's Activision. This is an over 8-year-old game. They're not going to give a damn that they're blocking content for this, which makes no sense because, it's a decent game, and I would say it's worth $20 if you're going to find it for that much, but either way, playing the first mission on stream is next to impossible because they will block you just for using that cutscene. I think it's specifically 2 cutscenes. The cutscenes involve in Will's death, and the second one is during a giant bridge collapse. I don't want to spoil it, but there is a huge bridge collapse that happens. Now, in terms of cinematography and how the missions are put together, it's well done. Like, you have some really cool, gimmick interactions. I don't know why people hate gimmick stuff like that. Like with Elden Ring, I just beat the Serpent Boss, which is a gimmick fight where you use this wind spear lance, and I thought it was freaking awesome. Like, it's such a spectacle, and this game is a spectacle on its own right. You have huge drone battles, you have turret sections, you have exosuits that you can... In the final mission, you get this huge exosuit where you just ride around. There is a both sections, so they definitely make it feel like it's a movie, and you definitely get your visual hype sensors just going off all the time. It is definitely one of the best visual spectacles I can think of right now. Like, I'm sure Infinite Warfare will probably do way better, but I thought Call of Duty Black Ops 3 did it really good. I think this one does it better. Now, the thing that I really liked about this game, and I think that more Call of Duty should do this, they did this in Call of Duty Black Ops 3, is the upgrade system. Like, you get points based on your performance, but basically it's just like kill enemies, headshots, grenades, stuff like that. And then you get points, which you can put into your exosuit that increases health, flinch resistance, aiming down the speed. That's why the veteran difficulty is so much easier, because with these upgrades, it kind of makes it a joke. But at the same time, I like that idea that you can upgrade your character as you progress through the game. And there's technically New Game Plus, where your progress carries over. And I like that in Call of Duty Black Ops 3, where you can literally choose perks and, your weapons and all that. I think that's a very underutilized feature, and I really wish that Activision Blizzard would actually put these into future Call of Duties, like choose a perk that you want to put into the game. It doesn't even need to be 3 perks. It can be 1 perk. You want sleight of hand? There you go. You want extra health? Okay, you can choose that. Something like that. I think that's a great idea. I know a lot of purist Call of Duty fans. I have been playing Call of Duty since Call of Duty 2 was my first game. I've beaten every major Call of Duty game I've played on veteran difficulty. I'm now going through my back catalog of all the Call of Duty games, so I don't know. I just think it would be an interesting way to mix things up if the player can, just choose 1 perk from multiplayer that enhances the experience. But, I guess it's just the way I like to think of things. Either way, I don't think Advanced Warfare is as bad as people make it out to seem. I think it's a decent Call of Duty game. If you're just looking for an average military shooter that will just, blow stuff up and is predictable, you can't really go wrong with this. I got it for $20, and I think it's worth $20. Yeah, it's a decent experience, and it has everything that a average Call of Duty game would have. At this point, yeah, I would think the game would get a 6 at most. Now, again, it does have multiplayer, and I'm pretty sure on PC you'll probably be able to have an easier time getting matches, but on Xbox, where I played the game, it was next to impossible. I got into like 1 or 2 matches. I couldn't even get a single match in the zombies mode, which is, it's like an alien mode, where you have to extract and drill and stuff like that. Again, I don't know what it's, I saw like 10 minutes of a gameplay video on it, and I was like, it doesn't look that interesting. And I can't even get a team together, because most of the players who are still playing this are like level 400, and the second they see I'm level 1, they're just like, nope, I'm not even going to deal with this. So I can understand that. Like, if I was in their position, I'd probably do the same thing. So I can't really discuss that. In terms of the campaign, I'm just like, it's okay. Nothing truly spectacular about it, but also nothing horrible about it. Good ideas, a decent experience, well, and it was worth the $20 that I spent on it. Either way, those are my views on Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. I'm going to still try and put everything up as I can. I submitted disputes for the videos I put up, but we'll see if Activision Blizzard is going to like either let me put them up, because it's once the 30 days are up, they kind of side with the person who submitted the copyright claim, because at that point they're just like, if they didn't say anything, then it's probably okay. So I think Activision Blizzard is just going to let me wait the 30 days before they let me, upload that stuff, because I doubt anyone is looking at this stuff, because the literal copyright claims are like placeholder names like XCX Call of Duty, H641, it's like a bunch of just random characters. Either way, I think it's good, decent, fun, nothing really bad about it that's downright horrible. So if you like the video, if you like it, if you dislike it, join button, Patreon, thanks button, that's how you support the channel. And the best way is also to like. Anyway, thanks for watching. I know your time is valuable. Have a good day.